Generative AI, large language models, they are everywhere. They're growing. Like it is so powerful that even on this channel on Mondays and Wednesdays, we are learning more about large language models, about prompt engineering, about AI so that we can be more better well-rounded as we go through our endeavors or as we go through our workflows on how these can help us, right? But at the same time, generative AI and large language models, they're also being used to help protect in cybersecurity realm and in vulnerabilities and all that type of stuff. So the same way that people can use technology for evil, it can also be used for good. So that's what I want to talk about today on this episode of the Bug Bite. So welcome. Happy to have you here as always. I am Tickle Droff. We're engineers to win. Today we're going to be talking about generative AI, large language models, and cybersecurity. So let's get into it. Let's just jump right in. All right. So this article is brought to us by CSO Online, and the title is Gen AI is transforming the cyber threat landscape by democratizing vulnerability hunting. Okay. And this, so let's take a look at that. So, we're not going to go through the whole article today. We'll probably do it in maybe 2 or 3 parts. It is about they say it's about a 15-minute read. So if we are giving commentary, it might end up taking us about 30 to 45 minutes. So I want to break it down maybe into 2 to 3 parts, right? So we'll see how that goes. But it starts off with large language models, LLMs, are proving to be valuable tools for discovering zero-day bypass detection and writing exploit code, thereby lowering the barrier to entry for penetration testers and attackers alike. So let's just stop right here. We are already doing large language models training, the course in the morning. And I'll put a link to the course, to the Udemy course in the description if you want to follow along with me. I'm learning it with you. So if you want to follow along, by all means, you can get the course. But we're also doing penetration testing, ethical hacking on Thursday nights. So, and now it's like everything is coming together. Everything and I was saying this the other day when in our first episode of learning penetration testing, how Python is so important to learn because in the large language models course, they're using Python. In the ethical hacking course, they're also using Python. And now with the large language models being able to help and assist in this, that lowers the barrier to entry for penetration testers, but also for attackers as well, because the same thing that you can use for good can also be used for evil. All right. So let's continue. Generative AI has had a significant impact on a wide variety of business processes, optimizing and accelerating workflows, and in some cases, reducing baselines for expertise. I can say that for me, definitely optimize and accelerates my workflows. Things that would take me, hours to do for one, I'm able to do multiple in just minutes. So definitely has helped me. Add vulnerability hunting to that list. As large language models, LLMs are proving to be valuable tools in assisting hackers, both good and bad, so ethical hackers as well as unethical hackers, in discovering software vulnerabilities and writing exploits more quickly while bridging knowledge gaps. This democratization of bug hunting skills has the potential to reshape the threat landscape by lowering the barrier to entry for attackers capable of developing and using zero-day exploits. Attacks that previously targeted unknown, unpatched vulnerabilities. So let's take a quick look at what a zero-day exploit is. So real quick, a zero-day exploit is a cyber attack that takes advantage of a previously unknown vulnerability in software, hardware, or firmware. The term zero-day refers to the fact that the software or device vendor has 0 days to fix the flaw before the attacker can use it. Okay. Here are some characteristics of a zero-day exploit. High success rate. Zero-day attacks are highly likely to succeed because businesses often don't have defenses in place to detect or prevent them. Common targets would be typical targets include web browsers, email attachments, and large enterprises. Lastly, methods of attack. Attackers can use zero-day exploits to plant malware, steal data, or cause damage to users, organizations, or systems, right? So that's real quick what a zero-day vulnerability, a zero-day exploit is. Let's get back to our article. Historically, these exploits have been associated with well-funded, sophisticated threat actors such as nation-state cyber espionage groups and a select few cyber criminal gangs with the skill to develop them in-house or the financial resources to purchase them on the black market. LLMs and generative AI are likely to have a major impact on the zero-day exploit ecosystem, says Chris Kubecha, a cybersecurity author and founder of HypaSec, a consultancy that provides security training and advises governments on nation-state incident response and management. These tools can assist in code analysis, pattern recognition, and eventually automating parts of the exploit development process, she told CSO via email after speaking at the DevCamp conference in Bucharest in November on the topic of quantum computing and AI redefining cyber warfare. By analyzing large amounts of source code or binaries quickly and identifying potential vulnerabilities, large language models could accelerate the discovery of 0 days. Moreover, the ability to provide natural language explanations and suggestions lower the barrier for understanding exploit creation, potentially making these process accessible to a wider audience. So here's going to be the thing, right? It's going to be those who are trying to prevent and catch these 0-day exploits versus those who are trying to exploit them and take advantage of them. So it's going to be a race. It is going to be a race. Definitely going to be a race, right? So on the flip side, the same large language models are being utilized by ethical bug hunters, like I was saying, and penetration testers to find vulnerabilities more quickly and report them to affected vendors and the organization that used impacted products. Security and development teams can also integrate large language models with existing code analysis tools to identify, triage, and fix bugs before they reach the production. So let's get into this efficiency and limitations of large language models for bug hunting. So bug hunters are likely to experience varying levels of success using large language models to discover vulnerabilities. Factors to include, right? The level of customization applied to the model and whether it is used alongside traditional analysis tools. The presence of native safety protocols in the model that can limit certain types of responses. Size and complexity of the analyzed code, as well as the nature of the vulnerability present in the code. Limitations on the input size that models can handle in a single prompt, and the potential for made up and incorrect responses like AKA hallucinations, all right? So nonetheless, even out-of-the-box large language models with little modifications can identify less complex input sanitization vulnerabilities such as cross-site scripting, XSS, and SQL injection, or even memory corruption bugs such as a buffer overflow, experts contend. The extensive training these models have undergone on web source information, including secure coding practices, development support forums, vulnerability lists, hacking techniques, and exploit examples account for this innate capability. But the efficiency of a large language model can improve significantly when bug hunters enhance the model with topic-specific data and carefully craft their prompts. And that's why we're learning prompt engineering in the morning. That's why we're doing ethical hacking and penetration testing on Thursday evening, right? So definitely want to join us because eventually at some point we're going to bring the two together, right? Just this past weekend on the bug bite, not the bug bite. This is the bug bite on the Saturday morning economics review show. I was able to use the large language model course where we built a web page summarizer, and I was able to pass the meeting notes from the Federal Open Market Committee meeting minutes, and I passed that URL into our summarizer, and it gave me a nice, great summary for a 17-page document. Right, so we're definitely using it already. Okay, so it says Kubeka, for example, built a custom version of ChatGPT that she calls 0-Day GPT. Using this tool, she was able to identify around 25 0 days in a couple of months, a task she might have taken her years to accomplish otherwise. One vulnerability was found in Zimbra, an open source collaboration platform previously targeted by state-sponsored cyber espionage groups, including through a 0-day exploit in late 2023. So what does bug hunting look like with large language models, right? So to discover this vulnerability, Kubeka instructed her custom GPT to analyze the patch known as Zimbra flaw, providing the model with the code changes between the vulnerable and the patched versions, as well as known exploits. She then asked whether it was still possible to use the old exploit against the patched code. The answer was, you can reuse the exploit. However, you need to change the code ever so slightly. And by the way, let me refactor it because the existing exploit code isn't very well coded. Wow. Wowzers. Okay. Wowzers. And that's what she told to the CSO in an interview. And so it was able to rip through it and give me a brand new exploit. And by golly, it just happened to work. That is shocking. Shocking, but not surprising, I must say, okay? So, Kubeka's GPT had identified a patch bypass a task researchers occasionally achieve as well. Many developers address input sanitation flaws by implementing filtering mechanisms to block malicious inputs. However, history has shown that such blacklist approaches are often incomplete. With creativity and skill, researchers can devise payload variations that successfully circumvent these filters. All right. So they're finding ways to get around it. Consider a scenario where a web application is patched to prevent SQL injection attacks by filtering specific keywords or patterns associated with such exploit. Lucien Netescu, Red Team tech lead at penetration testing firm BitSentinel, told CSO, or BitSentinel. BitSentinel told CSO, an attacker could use a large language model to generate alternative payloads that circumvent these filters. For example, if the patch blocks common SQL terms like sleep, the large language model might suggest using encoded representation of the or unconventional syntax that achieves the same malicious outcome without triggering the filter, such as SQL comments or URL encoding. See, they always find a way. And they show an example of it right here. I'm not going to read through it because I don't really understand it 100%, but there goes the example of what worked, right? So Netescu also uses large language models in his work, including custom prompts for ChatGPT or Olama, locally hosted GPT, which he augments with data sets such as a hack tricks repository, a collection of hacking and exploit techniques. He also tested an open source large language model powered code analysis tool called vulhunter that was developed by Protect AI and has been used to find over a dozen remote exploitable zero-day vulnerabilities thus far, right? So that's a lot. That is a lot. So they give an example of it over here. Let's see. So let's finish up with these 3 paragraphs and then we'll call it a day, right? So Netescu told CSO that he launched vulhunter and tested it on a randomly selected project hosted on GitHub. The large language model identified a remote code execution flaw within 15 minutes. Yes, 15 minutes. He declined to share specific details as the vulnerability is still in the disclosure process, but highlighted other public disclosed vulnerabilities discovered with the tool in highly rated GitHub projects and examples. So in the case of CVE 2024 10099, which was identified using vulhunter, we can observe that it provided full exploitation chain or helped in achieving a fully functional 2-step exploit. He said, considering that this vulnerability affects Comfy UI, a project with over 60,000 stars on GitHub, it already lowered the skill barrier to a decent minimum that would allow an early entry hacker to write a fully functional exploit. Right, and last paragraph. Meanwhile, Kubeka demonstrated to CSO how she used one of her custom GPTs in real time to identify security weaknesses and vulnerabilities on a website by splitting its code into 12 chunks. The large language model detected missing security headers and weak input validation issues that could be exploited among other vulnerabilities. So not only do you have to protect the large language model, you also have to protect the input as well. So it's so many different ways that people can get in. So the large language model detected missing security headers, right? And that could lead to being exploited. So we have to be on our P's and Q's. We have to be on our P's and Q's, all right? But I'm going to leave it off here for today. We'll pick up next week on elevating complexity, and we'll make a video about that. I don't want this one to go on too long. So let's go from there. Okay? That was we'll call this part one. I don't know how many parts. It might be 2 parts, might be 3 parts, but let's call this part one. That was part one of how generative AI and large language models, which we're learning in the mornings, can be used to do good or to do bad from a cybersecurity perspective, because we can either discover these 0-day attacks and these exploits, these spyware, malware, etc., or we can use these large language models to create them and to try to exploit. I'm going to tell you, do not do that. Do not be on the dark side. Be on the right side, right? Be on the light side, where we are trying to prevent people from getting hacked, prevent exploits, trying to find, and that's part of the reason that we are working on Thursday nights to do penetration testing, so that we can be very, very well rounded, from Python coding, from quality assurance, my bread and butter, from mobile development, from DevOps, from the large language models in the morning, all the way to the penetration testing and ethical hacking on Thursday nights. Right? So we're just trying to put everything together, see how they all relate to each other. Okay, but that is it for today. That's part one of how generative AI is fueling the cyber attacks, but also the cyber attack prevention. Depends on which side. Is it going to be the good side or the bad side? That's what we'll figure out. But we're going to keep going. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, do me a big favor. Like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, every time that we go live and drop new content. And if you haven't already, go to techcoachralph.dev. You can sign up for free. I have my sprint reviews up there for you for free, so you can see how we work in a Scrum environment. And then I also have one-on-one coaching tiers where I will work with you and we can run it up together. I want you to be successful in tech, and let me help you do that. As well as if you just want specific information that you will not find anywhere else on how to level up in tech, I can, and I'll even offer looking at your resume, all that good stuff. Sign up to be a technical explorer, and we can go from there, right? But with that being said, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You guys have an amazing weekend. This is Tech Coach Ralph. We are out.
Caught in a glitch, what's the fix this time? Chasing down bugs, oh it feels like a crime. Every software tale, got a story to tell. In the world of tech, it's a digital swell. Watch us dive deep in lines of code, finding the truth on this heavy load. Welcome to the bot fight, we unveil the fight. In a world of software, we'll shine the light. From errors to dangers, we'll guide your way. Stay tuned for the scoop every single day. Cyber shadows lurk in the data stream. Hacking our dreams, is it all just a scheme? From the latest news to the viral threat, we break it all down, you ain't seen nothing yet. With every bug found, we take a stance. Join in the rhythm, give tech a chance. Welcome to the bot fight, we unveil the fight. In a world of software, we'll shine the light. From errors to dangers, we'll guide your way. Stay tuned for the scoop every single day. Hit the subscribe, don't miss out the fun. Together we'll conquer, one bug at a run. From errors to dangers, we'll guide your way. Stay tuned for the scoop every single day. So hit that subscribe, don't miss out the fun. Together we'll conquer, one bug at